Anyway, I called the Shreveport police and told them, that this woman at Grace House, Miss Pinky, told me she was going to make an exception for me and Jake, but she wasn't going to because of my attitude. And all I did was ask her to spell her name and told him I was going to sue her. That was the first thing she said. She called me back and said, you were going to sue me? And I said, yes, ma'am, it's discrimination. She said, this is my house. And I can let people, choose who I want to live here. And I said, that's discrimination, ma'am. You don't get to decide, if you're offering it to all people. And she told me, well, she had let some people that had kids over 12 stay there if they were small. She said she'd had a kid stay there that would let a kid stay there that was 16. She let them stay there if they were over 12 if they were small. And I offered them Jacob's birth certificate to prove his age. And I told her, so, what, homeless kids that happen to be born tall, they just, they're out of luck? She said, well, you can call Providence House. They don't take kids over 12, but sometimes they make an exception. Well, I know that's not true because I told her, I told her, lady, I know that's not true. I've known people that stay at Providence House with kids that are taller than my son is. So she told me, you're not going to get no help, is what she told me. And she's black. And she's sitting there saying this. She didn't ever say she was going to make an exception to me. She just said that I was going to make an exception, but you have all this attitude. And that's exactly what I've encountered all along. As soon as I stand up for myself and my son and state the obvious fact that is all bullshit, then, oh well, you're out of luck. And then I called the Shreveport police and I was telling them, and I told her, that I'd been applying for rentals and that people were denying me rentals for ridiculous reasons, that they get to the point where even the people that they already rent to are saying that that's a ridiculous reason, that person never uses that reason. So that I'm being denied housing, and that now I'm being told I'm not going to get any help from any of the shelters. The lady said, well, why don't just take her word for it, call them. She told me to call Hope for the Homeless. That's a referral center. All it is a referral center where they tell you places to go, which is the same thing. It's the same list. I've already got a list of all the agencies. Told her I got kicked out of this Shreveport Bossier Rescue Mission because they said I lied about being a teacher, which wasn't true. I didn't lie about being a teacher, but they had been kicking people out there because they had jobs. They were kicking homeless people on the street and only letting people stay there because if they filed for disability. How does that make sense? And I told her, in Providence House, they want your paychecks. And she said, that's the way they do things at Providence House, ma'am. Well, you know what? When on God's green earth does it make sense to take paychecks from homeless people? They take your paychecks at Providence House. And if they don't like you and they decide you're uncooperative, then they just keep your money and kick you in the street. And they've done that to many people in Shreveport. And I told her, is that what we want people to know about Shreveport, that that's what goes on here? And I told her I was going to post it on the internet so everybody can see that's the way things are done in Shreveport. And I didn't know who the cop was that was behind this, who the jackass with the badge was that's doing this to me and my son. But, I'm not a prostitute. I'm not a whore. I've never done drugs a day in my life. And there was a guy who talked to me. He looked like he was trying to get me to go into prostitution today. And how did he get my number? I said, well, I posted it looking for an ad for a place to live on the internet. She said, well, then you took that risk. I was like, yeah, okay. Well, everybody posted on the internet. Everybody uses Craigslist as a place to look for housing. So, That's what it is. And I told her, you tell Double O dumb fuck. She said, I'm not going to listen to this. The Shreveport Police Department doesn't do referrals and provide housing for homeless people. And if you're, you're going to swear, I said, oh yes, ma'am. This, you tell Double O dumb fuck. And she hung up on me. And that's what it is. And I also told her that I'd been run over by snitches and people laughing in my face and stuff about it. So everybody knows it, you know. It's crazy. It really is. And that's exactly what's happening here. And I told her, you tell Double O dumb fuck. And she hung up then.